From the outside, my teeth look pretty good. I didn't need braces growing up, and I never really have much plaque buildup either. In fact, the dental hygienists, whenever they're cleaning my teeth, are always like very impressed with the lack of plaque. That rhymed. But underneath all of that, my teeth are an absolute disaster. And I mean like well and truly a disaster. I was one of those toddlers who had to be put under general anesthesia because I had so many cavities to fill in my mouth at such a young age. And throughout my entire life, I can't really remember a time when I would go to the dentist and I wouldn't be informed that I had a new cavity that had to be drilled and then filled. Even as an adult, there's not really too many teeth in my mouth that haven't been drilled through at least once. And what really annoyed me over the years is that I really tried to prevent cavities. I was religious about brushing and flossing my teeth. I didn't eat a lot of sugar. I ate what I considered to be a healthy diet. I wasn't eating like the typical 90s snacks of like Gushers and Oreos. And my dentist would tell me like it might just be genetics, which would frustrate me even more. But then about 4 to 5 years ago, I discovered a lot of nutrition strategies that really helped to essentially heal my teeth and at the very least prevent myself from getting more cavities. With all that being said, it's really unfortunate because the damage has kind of been done and a lot of the damage is irreversible because of things that I did as a kid. In fact, there are 4 really big things now looking back that I can pinpoint as major contributing factors, if not the absolute causes of my disastrous dental history. So today I wanted to share the things that absolutely destroyed my teeth so that hopefully you can either set your kids up for success or avoid some of the mistakes that I made. Let's dive into it. My name's Autumn. I'm a certified clinical nutritionist with my master's nutrition human performance, and today's video is sponsored by Kettle and Fire. More on them in a bit. Okay, the first was that I ate a lot of chips and crackers. Now these weren't like potato chips. It's not like I was eating Doritos. They were the healthier chips. Like my family had the blue corn tortilla chips and we had like the baked pita chips. Sometimes on the rare occasion we would get those Trader Joe's Cheetos, which obviously they weren't called that and I don't even know if they still make them. But something that I actually very recently learned from a holistic dentist is that the more often we eat, the more often our mouth will have this acidic environment that actually promotes tooth decay, which as nutritionists, this really makes a lot of sense because when you're constantly chewing and eating, it stimulates digestion, which first starts in the mouth. Our mouth releases different enzymes and can even lower the acidity to help the breakdown of those foods. So regardless of what you're eating, if you're snacking all the time, that could promote a lot of cavities. But on top of that, with more processed and refined carbohydrates, even if they are from healthier forms, which really weren't that much healthier looking back, that also provides fuel for bad bacteria in the mouth that can then cause more cavities. And eating chips and crackers is something that I see to this day is obviously a huge market, and I find especially with women, and the major problem with chips and crackers is that it just promotes even more snacking of those same foods. And that's because these foods are more processed, they are more refined, and they don't raise our satiety hormones and don't make us full and satisfied. So we end up eating more and more. So if I could do it again, go back and tell my like very young self to do things differently, I would say please skip the crackers, skip the chips. In fact, skip snacking altogether and focus on 3 full and satiating meals that are rich in protein, fat, and fiber. This is something that I talk so much about on my channel. It's something that I'm personally doing for my own daughter as well, and has so many other great health and body recomposition benefits beyond just dental health. Which, speaking of sneaky things that actually can help with dental health, I want to give a huge thank you to today's sponsor, Kettle and Fire. Kettle and Fire is my all-time favorite bone broth company. And interestingly, bone broth is actually a key component to the dietary protocols that were first developed by Weston Price. I love that Kettle and Fire slowly simmers bones from grass-fed cows so that they can pull out as many nutrients and collagen as possible. Now, I am a busy mom of 2 by the time this video comes out. I also am a business owner, so although I do know how to make my own bone broth, I don't have the time to make it. It's definitely a process. I'm not going to slowly simmer bones and then let it cool and then store it and then even have the foresight to prepare said bone broth for the weeks of meals. So I love that Kettle and Fire is so convenient and I can trust that I get a high quality bone broth by just reaching into my pantry. Kettle and Fire makes it really convenient to add a high quality source of bone broth into pretty much any meal like chilies, soups, and stews. And Kettle and Fire is super generous and they're offering 20% off your bone broth purchase when you use code AUTUMNBAITS at checkout. So make sure you stock up. I'll also have the link down description below so you don't miss out. Okay, the second huge thing I did that absolutely destroyed my teeth was avoiding dairy. Now, a lot of you guys know by now that my family was vegetarian for the vast majority of my young life. I always forget exactly when we started eating meat again, if it was somewhere around like middle school or early high school. And although as vegetarians you can't have dairy, I didn't really have dairy growing up because my mom didn't really like dairy. And dairy has the best combination of minerals and nutrients nutrients to actually mineralize and form healthy teeth from the start. And this is where like a lot of the damage done to my teeth is sadly irreversible, because teeth can only heal so much. A lot of the protection that you're going to get for the rest of your life really comes from how your teeth are formed when you're younger, and they're going to be greatly formed from the nutrients that you're eating, especially those rich in calcium and protein, making dairy one of the most important foods for having high quality teeth. Dairy is also uniquely rich in something called vitamin K2, and vitamin K2 is what that dentist, Dr. Weston Price, had initially found that people who were getting a ton of cavities were really lacking in. And there's really not too many food sources of vitamin K2 as well as calcium, especially in that combination. And what's crazy is that ever since I started to eat a lot more dairy, which was about like 5 to 6 years ago, I think, I can't fully remember, that's when I stopped getting so many cavities, because before that it would be literally every single appointment, like every 6 months. The only cavities that I really get now are from when I accidentally crack an old cavity and then a cavity forms underneath it. But even then, that's a lot less frequent. And I really attribute this to eating a lot more high quality dairy products. So now every day I eat various different sorts of dairy, especially fermented dairy, which has even better benefits. I first started off with Greek yogurt when I was healing my gut because it was a lower lactose option and I was able to digest it better. But now after years of re-adding dairy back in, I can have a lot of different other sources of dairy. So I have things like regular whole milk, kefir, cheese, skyr, like so many different dairy products. In fact, I have Greek yogurt so much, and my whole family has Greek yogurt so much, that we make it at home in a crock pot, and it actually saves us about like $500 a year. If you guys want that recipe, I'll have it linked right up here. It is amazing and so simple. Seriously, like it requires very minimal skill at all. Okay, the third thing I did was avoid meat. Now, another really important aspect of dental health is also protein. It's the combination of those minerals and vitamin K2 as well as protein that really form healthy teeth as well as bones. Not to mention jaw structure, which is also important for healthy teeth, but that's like a whole separate video. In fact, protein is so important for teeth that low protein intakes have actually been found to increase your risk of dental caries and cavities. And meat is one of the best, highest quality sources of protein that you could possibly eat. And obviously, as a vegetarian growing up, I didn't really eat meat. And I definitely didn't really eat much red meat until after college. From a nutrition perspective and setting my teeth up for success, this along with not having dairy, I think were two of the biggest factors that just destroyed my teeth. Okay, number 4 is drinking fruit juice. So as a kid, I wasn't drinking milk, so the thing that my parents would give me instead was fruit juice. Typically orange juice. I was not really a big fan of apple juice. And especially at the time with a lot of like the knowledge in the 90s, this was actually seen as what would have been a healthier swap. But what we know now is that I was replacing a really nutrient dense food source that could have set my teeth up for success, which was milk, for something that was really high in sugar and was actually just feeding the bad bacteria in my mouth that was causing more cavities. Now, although the damage really has been done for my teeth, I have found that at the very least, I have been able to prevent further cavities by eating more dairy, eating more meat, and avoiding snacking as well as fruit juice. So if you want to get an idea of what this looks like and what I eat in a day, you can check out this video next. Also, if you're new to my channel and you love this science-backed information, make sure you subscribe right here. Come out new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video.